Vicki, are we on the same page? I mean about our parenting.
We better be. Let's talk about how to get on the same page with parenting.
Good idea. If Vicki and I are not on the same page on our parenting, who needs to change? Hey,
No.
who needs to change? Notice that you've already got an answer to that.
Right.
That's important to realize because you're thinking, oh, we're not on the same page. If he would just do things more the way I want him to,
All
then
our problems
we'd be
would
good.
be solved, right?
right?
Yeah.
And he's thinking, well, if she would just, right? This is the problematic starting point that we have when parents are not on the same page.
Right.
We did another video about this, Vicki.
Okay.
It's called What to Do When Parents Don't Agree on Discipline.
Yeah, that's a huge hot topic, and we need to know, what do we do when we're not on the same page? How can we get on the same page?
Now, you can link to that video up there for the card. Cue that up and watch that next. As we get into this discussion today, I'd like to focus on the communication
Okay.
that happens between parents. And before we go there, when I asked who needs to change, and Vicki was pretty sure it was me that needed to change, and I'm thinking, well, she could probably. Notice that that's where you are. We have differences.
Right.
Vicki, if you and I were exactly the same, one of us would be unnecessary. So notice that the differences are an essential part of the relationship, but that's what causes the conflict. Now, one of the problems that we run into is knowing that we're right. Okay, just like you knew who needed to change to be on the same page, you also know that you're right. I think we need to give up our need to be right in exchange for being open.
Right. And I love the saying, we've said it before on this channel, but I can't even remember where we heard it, but it said, you can either be in a relationship or you can be right. Sometimes we want so badly to be right that we don't even realize all of the bridges we're burning and the pins we're knocking down as we get to being right.
Oh, it's a train wreck behind us.
Yeah.
Because we just barreled through needing to be right. And Brett Williams,
It was Brett Williams.
who showed up on this channel for a conversation with
Yeah.
me, the title of his book is You Can Be Right or You Can Be Married. And it's a great title. But
Right.
this is what we're talking
Little
about.
tongue-in-cheek, but really in the end, we want to really focus on the relationship.
Right.
And so we're going to open up the communication to talk about, well, what is right rather than being right, proving that I'm right. We want to talk about what is right.
Oh, Vicki, we have to emphasize that a little bit more. The focus is on what's right, not who's right. That changes the whole game.
Right.
Now, what about the communication part? I've worked with a lot of couples on this. Overcoming that right barrier is the first thing that we need to handle because everybody knows that they're right and they're insisting that you listen to my point of view and if you would just change the way you're doing things, then we'd be on the same page. We have to reverse that, okay? And you're the one to do it because if you're the one watching this video, who else is going to change this? Here's the change. You listen first to understand.
I recently read an article about the difference between discussion and dialogue. And discussion, usually the outcome of a discussion is to have a result, a decision. A discussion leads to a decision, whereas dialogue leads to understanding. So I think, we're talking about how can I get on the same page as my spouse or my partner what we really need to realize is that sometimes we're going to have to open up the dialogue. And so I'm going to need to listen to your full part, let you say the whole part of it, and then share my part. There's a really great question that kind of opens people up to listen. Do you want to share that with us?
The question, if I'm tracking you, Vicki, if I'm understanding you
correctly, if we're on the same page,
is help me to understand. It's not even a question, it's a request.
Right.
Help me to understand where you're coming from. And then you zip it. When you're listening to understanding and agreeing are not the same thing.
Right.
That's what I like about what you said about dialogue. We're trying to get to a place where we understand each other. Listen has the same letters as the word silent, which is fun. But it's not just being silent. It's really seeking to understand. Understanding and agreeing are not the same thing. So don't let that get in your way. When your spouse or the other parent is talking about, well, I think that it should be done this way, and they launch into their description, you might naturally feel some resistance to that because you don't agree. At least you don't think you agree. If you take the time to listen, to understand, and that's your whole goal. Just, I got to make sure I understand this, that what's coming into my head is the same thing that came out of yours. That will probably put you in a position where you don't have as much conflict as you think you have. I don't think parents disagree as much as they think they do. Now that you've made the effort to listen, to understand, the next thing, of course you want to share your point of view. Right? Don't just jump in. Don't try to overtalk your spouse.
Well, sometimes we try to explain away what you just said.
Well, the problem with that is, no, receive what they have, understand where they're coming from, and then, after you've understood, ask for permission to share.
That just opens up.
Yeah.
It opens up your partner to be willing to listen to you and to hear.
And you can do it in exactly those words. May I share with you what I'm thinking about this? Now, any reasonable person is going to say, well, of course you can, right? If you're embroiled in a conflict, they may say, oh, I'm not interested. You're just going to tell me this or that. Well, we've got some other problems to work with at that point. But you're asking permission, so it's a very respectful way to say, not even that I disagree with what you said. It's like, I'm listening, I hear you, I understand what you said was, and you give it back to him so that you've got that understanding. And then you ask for permission. May I share with you what I'm thinking about this? It melts some of the resistance. Because when people say, well, of course you can share, psychologically it puts them in a position where they're now more open to listen, to understand what you're saying.
Can I just go back? Because there are times when maybe your answer is, yeah, but not right now. You might not be in the position to listen, or your partner might not be ready to listen. And I think it's better to be upfront about it. Say, may I share? Right. You know, right now is probably not going to be the best time. So that when you are talking about it, you're in a place where you're listening and sharing for understanding.
That'd be good to know, right?
Yeah, that's good.
May I share what I'm thinking? No, I'm not ready for that right yet. Maybe tomorrow. Or let me cool down
first. Give me a few minutes.
Okay, good to know. Good to know, because I don't want to march into that battle.
Because you're not going to get on the same page going at it from there.
Same page.
Yeah.
That's where we started, Vicki. But I'm wondering if we have to be on the same page, the proverbial same page. Really?
So I think it's part of how do we define same page.
Right.
And I think that's where if you have these dialogues with each other, you might find out that even though I'm going this way and you're going this way, it looks like we're not on the same page. Actually, if we were to talk about it, we'd find out what we wanted. Our goal is the same. I'm going this direction, you're going that way. That's one of the reasons I think, let's get clear about what our same page is. And we'll find out that our same page is the same, our goal, our end goal for our family to be strong, healthy, have love, and be united. That's the same goal.
You are absolutely right, Vicki. I had a couple in my office just last week who were explaining to me how they're not on the same page. Nothing. There's nothing that we agree on. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. And I started asking questions along those lines. Well, what is it that you want? And you know what? She wanted for their children to be happy and well-adjusted and have a good life, right? Guess what he wanted?
Probably the same thing, right?
Yeah, and they had different ideas about how to get there, but really their hearts were in the same place.
Yeah. I think that's the value of talking and discussing, dialoguing for understanding, is so that you can get to that point where you understand and you see where you are in unity, and then you can start to kind of peel back, okay, so how can we get there by our actions then?
Yes. Being open all the time to the brilliant ideas that other parent has. We are so honored to be on your positive parenting team, and there is a world of other resources available to you. The Parenting Power Up is something you'll definitely want to check out, and we also have set up an opportunity for you to have a free parenting breakthrough call with a member of our team. You can connect there through the parentingpowerup.com. Go down to the description, you'll find the links there as well. We're excited to be on your team.
And I wished I'd had a number so I could be color unknown. And then I tell how to look and